I hope you're all having an amazing day today. It is so good to be back. Thank you guys so much for joining in this video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different that I haven't really talked about on my channel before, and that is dealing with grief and how to actually deal with grief and move with it and through it. So for those of you who don't know, I stopped posting regular videos mid-October because I was informed that my grandmother was in the hospital due to a stroke. Not just any stroke, it was a self-induced stroke. She smoked 3 packs of cigarettes in 2 days, and it's because my grandfather died the year before, and my grandma was really not that happy, and she always talked about leaving. And I just didn't think that she'd actually do it. But because of that situation, I obviously stopped posting on my channel a lot because I became her hospice caretaker, which was so rewarding and so beautiful and so difficult at the same time because it all happened so fast. My grandmother's someone that I just expected to live forever. She's just one of those people, and I know that I really did help her in the ways that I could by being a hospice caretaker, and it really has been, I've really been struggling with grief and the process of grief, and there's so much that I have learned through this process already of dealing with grief, because she's the person that is, I've never had someone closer to me pass away. She's basically a mother to me. So this has been definitely difficult. So if this video is a little bit like everywhere, it's because I'm still moving through it. Days have still been hard, but I want to show up and talk to you guys about what I'm moving through and kind of what I've learned, and hopefully it will help some of you that are also moving through grief as well. One thing I learned is it's extremely important to feel your emotions if you have a loved one that has passed away. It is so easy to bottle things inside or feel like you don't have a right to express your emotions, like you feel like you shouldn't be angry, or it's not about you and you shouldn't feel this way. It's like our mind tells us all these things that really isn't true. Like, you're allowed to be angry, you're allowed to be sad, you're allowed to be frustrated, and I highly recommend fully feeling those emotions, because there have been times with this process, especially when she passed away on October 28th, and I was her caretaker for 8 short days, and one thing I really struggled with was fully letting myself feel, because there were so many emotions inside. I felt like I was just gonna get lost in the emotions, honestly, but I realized that I had to allow myself to do that in order to move through the emotions and in order to heal. And I did this in so many ways. I would journal how I was feeling. I would cry as hard as I can. I would express my anger and my frustrations to my grandmother. I would go on walks and just talk to the sky and express why I'm angry and how I'm feeling. And if I needed a whole day to cry and be upset or whatever I needed, I allowed myself to do it. At first I didn't allow myself, and this is why this is one of the lessons that I learned, is because I realized how important it is to feel your emotions, or else they get trapped in your physical body and it can turn into physical symptoms. Like, I wasn't expressing how I felt. I was kind of bottling things in because I still wanted to do my business and I still had to take care of this, and it's like I gave myself so many reasons why I shouldn't feel these emotions. And because of that, I started having a lot of physical medical problems regarding my digestive system again, and couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I went almost full days without drinking water. Like, I really didn't feel my emotions at first, and it caused me to physically really feel the repercussions of that. So I want you to know that it's okay to feel, and it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to be sad. You have every single right to feel that way, and for yourself, you need to express it. Another thing I learned, which kind of ties into the first thing, is to not give up on self-care. when someone close to you passes away, it is very, very easy to shut down and shut down your basic needs as a human being. I went 2 weeks without brushing my hair, guys. I could hardly get out of bed most days. And eating? No. Out of the question. I could barely drink enough water to keep me like alive. Like I really needed to work. I realized how much I needed to work on like my discipline with self-care, even when I didn't feel like it. Because when you're going through grief like that, you don't feel like doing anything. You don't feel like taking care of yourself at all. But you gotta keep in mind that your loved one is still with you as well. And I knew that's why I had to take care of myself, because my grandma would make sure that I was taken care of. And just because she's passed doesn't mean that she's not watching over me, doesn't mean that she's not with me. And she wants to see me take care of myself. She's experiencing life through my eyes, so it's up to me to feel joy, to play, to take care of myself, because it's not like she's gone. She's still absolutely with me. And she has left, I'm not even kidding, probably hundreds of signs to make sure that I know that she is with me. And that's one reason why I really learned that I can't let myself get completely suffocated by the grief. And even if it feels suffocating, I at least need to do what I can to have grace with myself and to do the basics to take care of myself and make sure that I feel safe, because that's a really important thing when you're grieving, is to make sure that you feel that you're in a safe, comfortable place where it's okay to feel. And it really helps give back the love to yourself that you really need when you're grieving, when you do basic self-care. So I would do anything that you can, even the most minimal things, and then anything that you can do that's a little above beyond the basics, help bring a little bit joy or comfort. I would absolutely recommend doing so, and do not give up on self-care. Another thing is to do things that your loved one loved to do to connect with them. There's my grandmother, she has a very dark sense of humor. She loves horror movies, and I'm not too much of a horror movie person anymore, but I've been watching them just to connect with her. I've made the pies that she used to make when I was little. I've been making those. I created a whole playlist of music that she likes, and I had to get in touch with my mom for that, because that's her daughter and she knows more about the music that my grandmother likes, than I do. I know my grandmother loves Queen because that's what we always listened to, like all the time when I was little. And so I definitely listened to Queen a lot, and then I just created a whole playlist of her favorite music, and I feel her around when I play it. When I made her pineapple pie that she used to make, I could feel her with me. I would like get a whiff of her perfume. And it's those little things that we can do to connect with them and kind of help their energy live on through us. It's our responsibility to experience joy and really do things that light us up, because that will light them up. They're experiencing life through you, and especially if you can do things that they love to connect with them, that will not only bring you so much comfort, but I really do feel that you will feel them around in that very moment. Okay, so this is one that I really love, and it's make a journal specifically for your loved one. So for my grandmother, I got a brand new journal, and at the beginning of the journal, I wrote down our story of hospice, how it happened, and all of the details that I wanted to remember. I'm actually still writing it, but all of the details that I wanted to remember, that way I can go back and read it anytime. So there was a section at the beginning of the notebook where I wrote down our kind of hospice story. There was another section in the notebook where I wrote down things that I was grateful for that my grandmother taught me, and just gratitude for my grandmother. And this really, really helped me just be able to write down all of these things that I'm so grateful for that she taught me, and it kind of turns a lot of the sadness into a feeling of deep love and gratitude. And so that was a very important part in the journal. Probably the most important part to me in the journal was the section called Heavenly Hugs, and this is basically all of the signs, all of the ways that my grandmother has gotten in touch with me to let me know that she is still with me. And I'm not even kidding, guys, I was right by her side when she passed, and she did not waste any time on letting me know that she was around. I am telling you, it was insane. And my boyfriend, Chance, he really does not see a lot of things, if you know what I mean. Like, he doesn't see a lot of auras, or doesn't get a lot of like intuitive nudges, if that makes sense. But he was getting a lot. Like within the hour of her passing, he was seeing like sparkles next to me, like just like get bright and just disappear. He was seeing like, I don't know if you guys have seen like auras before, but it's kind of like when you can rub your eyes and you kind of see colors. I can just look at a white wall and kind of see outlines of figures and stuff, and we were seeing figures of my grandmother and all of her animals, because she's literally like Snow White. And so it was really validating that even Chance was having experiences and synchronicities, and these were all things that went in that Heavenly Hug section. Any way that she got in touch with me at all, whether it was a whiff of her perfume, whether I saw a smiley face or a heart shape outside or in here, it's like I'll have to share a lot of what's in the notebook with you guys, because I'm not kidding, there are so many ways that she's connected with me, and that's also helped me become more aware of when she's trying to connect with me, because our loved ones are always trying to connect to us, but are we present enough to understand that they're connecting with us and actually pick up on it? So this practice helps, writing down all the ways that they've connected with you and inviting them to show up more. And this is really going to provide you a lot of comfort, because I still write in the journal when she shows up, and it's so comforting when you have doubts or you're feeling like an immense grief that just takes over. You can look in that journal and look at all of the ways that your loved one has connected with you to let you know that they're around. I don't know what I would do without this notebook. It has provided me so much comfort, and I definitely highly recommend creating a notebook for your loved one as well, so you can look through it at any time and continue to write in it and connect to their energy. The next one is to go outside and to talk to them on a walk. I promised my grandmother that I would talk to her every single day, so as soon as I wake up in the morning, I grab my dog Juno and we go outside on a walk. I literally start my talk with my grandmother every single day. Good morning, Grandma. I hope you had a good night. This is what I dreamt about. This is how I'm feeling. And I will just vent to my grandmother. And I have really worked through a lot on my talks with her. Anything that I was holding on to, that I felt guilty about, that I wished was differently, anything that was frustrating for me, I just wanted a place to express and talk to her. And the magical thing is that as I'm walking, I'm getting synchronicities constantly. Like, just today, I was talking to her on the walk, and there's kind of snow outside, and there was a water print from melted snow on the sidewalk that was in the shape of a perfect heart. And on that same walk, she actually left a rock that was in the perfect shape of a heart as well when I was talking to her, and I can actually show that one to you. I was talking to my grandmother outside and expressing to her that I really just wanted to feel closer to her. I wanted her to know that she can come to me at any time. And then I literally saw this rock on the ground. And to me, that was an instant sign that she was listening and that she was around. And so I decided to take that rock with me. And so that's another benefit of kind of talking to your loved one outside on a walk, is it's very interactive. There will be animals that will just show up. You might see something random on the sidewalk that you really feel is a sign from your loved one. There's just so much going on in nature, and your loved one can use a lot of what's in nature to connect to you. And when we're in nature, we really don't have a lot of distractions, right? Usually we're not on our phone and we're not like doing a ton of other things, so we're much more present on walks. So it actually makes it easier for them to connect to us because we're paying attention. So that's definitely something that I would recommend. Another thing is I would definitely recommend to journal how you are feeling on a regular basis. It is extremely important to journal, and there were weeks where I didn't touch my journal, and it just caused me to be so overwhelmed with so much unprocessed emotion, so many thoughts that I didn't understand, that I didn't know how to work through. And it's because I was just letting it all sit up here in my brain and get all scrambled up, and there was nowhere for it to go. So it's actually extremely beneficial to journal how you are feeling, because it helps you work through your emotions. Stuff will come up that you didn't even know was there before when you're writing. And it's also an amazing release as well. It's basically the equivalent of venting to a friend and talking to them about how you feel. Psychologically, it's the same way when we journal and we just do what I call a brain dump. And a brain dump is basically where you don't try to filter what's going on in your brain, you just write. Whatever you're feeling, whatever's coming up, you just write, and you just don't stop until you're done. And this is a way to kind of unconsciously open up your subconscious and just get out everything that you didn't even know that you needed to. So journaling how you feel on a regular basis, or maybe even making videos if you prefer, would be a great way to kind of process your emotions and feel a little bit better throughout the day. Another thing that I learned is that my joy is my grandmother's joy. Me and my grandmother had, and still have, I'm trying not to cry, an amazing close relationship. I mean, there were absolutely some family drama that we couldn't really control, but me and my grandma were literally inseparable. Oh, is it blurry? Okay, there we go. Me and my grandmother were literally inseparable, and I know that it's still the same way with her on the other side. I can feel her around me all the time, and I really can feel the difference in her energy when I'm really sad or depressed or I can't take care of myself. Like, I have to realize that she has to see me that way too, and she can't really do much about it. I 100% know that my grandmother is with me. I 100% know that. And I don't want her to see me not take care of myself. I don't want her to see me give up or sacrifice my joy. I had to learn that my joy is her joy. She can experience life through my eyes, and that is so true, especially with my experiences in out-of-body traveling and stuff, and even my near-death experience. You can be in multiple places at once. Like, every tear that you shed, like, she is there for. Every win you have, every loss you have, every opportunity that comes into your life, that is also her opportunity. She is living life through you. So how do you want her to live? How do you want your loved one to live? For me personally, I know that my grandmother had a really, really hard life, and she wasn't really happy most of her life. And so I really wanted to show her kind of my world with like my business and lucid dreaming and my art, because this is what brings me joy. And, you know, near the end of her life, she really didn't get to see a lot of what my life is or what my business is. And so me activating my own joy and trying new things is allowing her to experience that with me. Like, she never flew on a plane because she was terrified. So one of my goals is to travel all over the world and bring her with me. And I do want to spread some of her ashes at, me and Chance talked about it. We want to go to the seven wonders of the world and spread some of her ashes at each one. Because how cool would that be for someone who is never even able to get on a plane due to fear? Like, I really want to help her accomplish some of the things that she wants to experience that she wasn't able to in her life. And that's exactly what I mean by your joy is their joy. Anything that you knew that they really wanted to do in their life but didn't get to do, what if you could do that for them in their honor, and they be there with you as you're experiencing that? That's how I really feel we should move throughout our life, just as they are experiencing life through our eyes. Another thing is to ask them to leave you signs and to visit you in your dreams. This is so important, and it also kind of goes along the line of like free will. Like, it's just like any kind of help with spirit or anything, at least how I see it. We have to be open to receiving help. We have to be open to receiving signs. We have to be open to receiving visitations from our loved ones. And as long as we can make it known that we are open to that, then I really do feel like it creates an amazing connection with your loved one where they can visit you in many different states of consciousness, whether it's just leaving you a sign when you're awake, whether it's getting a random song stuck in your head, or whether it's appearing in your dreams. Giving them permission to do so and letting them know how you would like them to connect with you, I think will completely change the way that you see connecting with your loved one, because as soon as I invited my grandmother to come see me in my dreams, the dream I had of her was so precious. She literally came over and she was at my front door, and I just remember running up to her and hugging her. And it was actually in my dream, it was after hospice happened. And my grandmother, she couldn't talk during hospice because of the blood clot in her brain, and in my dream she couldn't talk either, but we didn't need words. I remember it took place after hospice, and as soon as I saw her in my apartment, I was running up to her and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I have to ask her if she was proud of me, if she was happy during hospice, and how she's doing on the other side. It's like it took place after hospice, but she was still physically there. And I just remember just the look that she gave me. I will never forget that look. She always gave me that look in waking life, like, oh Haylee, I love you kind of look. And it was so amazing to connect with her in that dream and to smell her perfume again and to feel her hugs and her love. It was so powerful, especially through a dream. It's not just like imagining something. It's not just pretending that, you know, it's a real experience where you are in a vivid 3D reality. And not only can they visit you in your dreams, but you can even induce lucid dreams and out-of-body experiences with your loved ones, so you can actually embrace them, hold them, talk to them, touch them. It's such a powerful practice, and that's why I love what I do, because it's really allowed me to create a stronger connection with my grandmother. So definitely let them know that you are open to having experiences with them. And I had to tell my grandma, there's no way that you can scare me. Please, any way that you want to show up, please do. There's no way that you can scare me. I promise. There's never a bad time to show up. So I think it helps to kind of just make that known and kind of be open to receiving whatever they have that they want to bring you. Take time each day to do something that lights you up. This is very important, and I definitely neglected this quite a bit at first. I would go, like I said, I would go most days without doing anything, couldn't even really eat or drink water, really. It was rough, and I realized I need to do something that lights me up, because I'm not really honoring myself or my emotions by not doing anything to make me feel better. It's like seeing the 7-year-old version of you go through grief and just like letting them not take care of themselves. Of course you would encourage them to take care of themselves. You would help them take care of themselves. You would be that loving support system that child needs. We need to see ourselves in the same way. We need to grab a blanket and allow us to snuggle up. We need to do a foot soak or take a bath or whatever lights you up. For me, it was a lot of art. That's what helped me process a lot of emotions, was art, drawing, like just handcrafting things. I love to just create things. And so that's one thing that I neglected at first, but really brought me comfort once I like kind of forced myself to do it. And that's another thing, is like you might not feel like doing anything. And I was okay with feeling that way, but then it like went on for so long that I had to intervene, and I had to be like, okay, no, we're doing this. And then once I did it, you know, whether it was painting or art, or I finally got myself to meditate or do yoga, I was like, wow, that really helped. Why wasn't I doing this before? You know, it just opens that, it just allows you to be open to experiencing fun and play and taking care of yourself. And sometimes you will kind of have to force yourself initially to do it, but then once you're doing it, or once you've completed it, you'll feel so much better, and you'll be more likely to do it again, obviously. When sadness takes over, turn to gratitude. This was a huge one, because it is so easy to get lost in our thoughts. Like, I would one little slightly negative or stressful thought about it and it would send me down an entire loop, and I would just get so depressed. I would have a panic attack. And I really don't have panic attacks anymore. But when I let myself get in that thought loop, it really caused me to not be able to get out emotionally very easily. And one thing I learned is when I'm starting to feel that heavy grief and that sadness, to turn to gratitude, to grab out that notebook that I made for my grandmother and to write down all of the things that I'm grateful for that she taught me, or that I learned from her, or that I learned from this experience. And gratitude has been such an amazing part of this process, and I cannot tell you how much gratitude can do for you. It might seem like you're forcing it at first sometimes, depending on what you're trying to practice gratitude for, but eventually you really start to tap into it and you really start to be in alignment with gratitude and really fill it up. And so if you are really in one of those moments where grief just takes over and it's too heavy and it's just like debilitating, please feel free to feel your emotions, as you always should, right? But to interfere with the negative thought loops and to replace it with gratitude, and to pull out that journal that you created for your loved one and to write down things that you're grateful for, and maybe even read through the Heavenly Hug section, because that has provided me so much comfort. But now, instead of just venting to my grandmother and expressing my anger and telling her how I wish things were different, I tap into gratitude now. And if I need to say anything to her, I definitely don't hold back. Don't just express exactly what you need to. Everything's okay. But I want you to know that gratitude will create massive shifts for you. So practice that every single day in some capacity, and you will experience more ease in your day-to-day. And trust me, I know it's hard. I'm literally going through it right now. So I get it, but these are the things that have really kind of helped me shift, because I haven't been able to do any work pretty much for 3 months. It's been so hard, and I'm finally starting to come out, and I'm finally able to make a video and talk to you guys, and gratitude and all of this really, really, really helped me shift. So I hope that this information helps you. Again, we're probably going to talk about this more in the future, because this really opened up a whole thing for me. And also being a hospice caretaker, it also made me really passionate about becoming an end-of-life doula and learning more about that and the process of death and dying and how sacred and beautiful it actually is. So I hope that this video helped you, and if there's other videos that you want to see in the future regarding grief or past loved ones, please let me know. There's definitely going to be more content on this, because again, I'm moving through this as well. I know one of the videos coming up is going to be how to connect with your loved one in a lucid dream or an out-of-body experience, a loved one who's passed away, and so that's a video I'm going to be making soon. So I hope that this video helped those who needed it. I love you. You are not alone. You're safe. It's okay to feel. And you're exactly where you should be. Even if it's hard to understand, you're always where you should be. And I will be here for you through it all. And I am sending you so many hugs and so much love. Because if you're watching this video, you're watching it for a reason. And I just want you to know it's going to be okay. But I hope that these things helped you in some way. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Definitely let me know what you think down below. And I will see you next time. As always, I'm sending you endless love and endless lucidity.